Anshan, modern Tall-i Malyan, was an ancient city in Iran. The site is located 46 kilometers north of Shiraz, in the Beyza, Ramjerd plain, in the province of Fars in the Zagros Mountains, southwestern Iran. It was one of the early capitals of Elam from the late 4th millennium BC. Later, in the 7th century BC, it became one of the early capitals of Persia. History. Before 1973, when it was identified as Tall-i Malyan, Anshan had been assumed by scholars to be somewhere in the central Zagros mountain range. Malyan was occupied from the 6th millennium BC. During the Proto-Elamite period, this becomes one of the main cities of the Elamite region, thanks to its location on important trade routes. During the Banish period, at 50 hectares, it was 5 times the size of Susa. The mauve-dashed area, where the highland city of Anshan is located, is a complex of several interconnected valleys and plains. During the mid-late Banish period, Anshan also had a walled area of 200 hectares. It also featured a number of subsidiary villages and campsites. Comprehensive studies of Banish plant and animal remains show that Banish people focused on intensive cultivation of wheat and herding of sheep. Some craft activity, particularly ceramic and some stone vessel manufacture, was concentrated in specialized villages, at least earlier in the period. In the main center, however, other craft activity, specifically copper processing, is attested only as small production areas in domestic contexts. The Elamite city makes an appearance in the early Sumerian epic Enmerkar and the Lord of Aratta as being en route between Uruk and the legendary Aratta, supposedly around the time writing was developed. At various times, Anshan provided, in its own right, the source for a number of Elamite dynasties that sometimes competed for extent and influence with other prominent Elamite cities. Menishtushu claimed to have subjugated Anshan, but as the Akkadian Empire weakened under his successors, the native governor of Susa, Kutik-in-Shushinik, a scion of the Awan dynasty, proclaimed his independence from Akkad and captured Anshan. Following this, Gurdir of Lagash claimed to have subjugated Anshan, and the Neo-Sumerian rulers Shulgi and Shusanova are said to have maintained their own governors over the place. However, the successor Ibbi-Sin seems to have spent his reign engaged in a losing struggle to maintain control over Anshan, ultimately resulting in the Elamite Saqqara in 2004 BC, at which time the statue of Nana and Ibbi-Sin himself were captured and removed to Anshan. In the Old Babylonian period, King Ungurnim of Larsa dated his 5th regnal year after the destruction of Anshan. For the 15th century BC, Elamite rulers at Susa began using the title King of Anshan and Susa, and it seems probable that Anshan and Susa were in fact unified for much of the Middle Elamite period. The last king to claim this title was Shutruk-Nafhunta II, cradle of Achaemenid Persia. Anshan fell under Persian Achaemenid rule in the 7th century BC, having been captured by Tespes, who styled himself king of the city of Anshan. For another century during the period of Elamite decline, Anshan was a minor kingdom, until the Achaemenids in the 6th century BC embarked on a series of conquests from Anshan, which became the nucleus of the Persian Empire. The most famous conqueror who rose from Anshan was Cyrus the Great. Archaeology. The site of Anshan covers around 200 hectares. It had been occupied since California, 5500 BC or earlier. The main feature is a low flat-topped mound of about 130 hectares running 4 to 6 meters in height. On 3 sides of the remains of a city wall 5 kilometers in length dating from the late Banish and Kaftari periods. Finds at Tall-i Malyan included primarily Proto-Elamite and Middle Elamite cuneiform tablets, seals, and a pottery sequence important to dating the chronology of of the region. The most notable find was a building brick of Elamite King Hatlutis in Sassanach, which confirmed that the site was indeed Anshan. The site was first worked by Faridun Tavalloli of the Archaeological Service of Iran in 1961. No records of publications of that effort appear to exist, though some artifacts ended up in the Persepolis Museum. Scientific excavation began in 1971 with a team led by William Sumner for the University of Pennsylvania and Ohio State University after a survey in 1968. The dig continued for several seasons until 1978, when the Iranian Revolution intervened. Most recently, Tall-i Malyan was excavated by Kamyar Abdi in 1999. A further 6-week dig was conducted in 2004 by the Cultural Heritage Organization of Iran and Dartmouth College.